Marvel's Secret Invasion has been on the top of my list to see ever since I saw that first teaser trailer clip. I've seen the first 2 episodes now, so will this live up to the hype? After Nick Fury learns of a clandestine invasion of Earth by a faction of shape-shifting Skrulls, he joins his allies, including Everett Ross, Maria Hill, and the Skrull Talos. Together, they race against time to thwart an imminent Skrull invasion and save humanity. So this is going to be spoiler-free and vague on a lot of parts, so you can enjoy this just as I did. The series is an action espionage thriller, and the cast, it is absolutely stacked. Not only do we have Sam Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn, but the show also features Kobe Smulders, Emilia Clarke, Olivia Colman, Kingsley Ben-Adir, Don Cheadle, and Martin Freeman. Now, there's a gritty and cold atmosphere that really works to create an effective world of spies. And what's fun about this is that while there are standard international spy agents, we also get the inclusion of alien invaders who can take on any look at will. We first met the Skrulls in the MCU in Captain Marvel, and they're now being part of this universe creates just a ton of potential complications for the story. They can also be used as mulligans to maybe just get a story or plot hole out of trouble by just saying, well, hey, you know what? That didn't really happen to this person. They were really a Skrull. Now, this hasn't been shown to us yet, but that possibility for a loophole exists, and depending on if or even how it's used, it could enhance or ruin the experience. Now, in these first 2 episodes, we get some wonderful action, especially in the form of high-intensity pursuits. The stakes are established to be very high, so there's a lot of tension that's built. And there are a couple of fight sequences that mainly take place in confined spaces, and the editing doesn't cut away too much so that we're able to see the choreography and the moves. There's also a larger scale chase that moves through a city, and the use of obstacles to obscure views, I thought it was done creatively, allowing changes to appear seamless so that the momentum, it can just be maintained. But even with these big action sequences, the show itself is slower paced, taking its time to establish the world that we're seeing at this point in time. And there's a lot of background that's given. I mean, I think some of that's in an effort to not make everyone have to go back and rewatch Captain Marvel just to remember all of the context. I mean, if you're very familiar with these storylines, these could feel a little repetitive or unnecessary, but the information is delivered in an entertaining and engaging manner so that it matches the tone and the pacing of this show. And to match the pacing, Sam Jackson is much more reserved in his performance. He's not the bigger-than-life presence, but instead is quiet and brooding, most likely as a result of what happened to him with the blip. But I really like this quieter persona. It makes it more mysterious, but also emotional. I mean, he's always been able to show a little compassion, but now it comes across as more palpable. He feels less cold and calculated than what we've previously seen, and that makes for some interesting situations and complications as the plot goes along. And it's not to say that he's now weak or all mousy. I mean, he's still got a little attitude. It's just pushed down and doesn't rear his head as readily. And this new approach to the persona, it makes for some good exchanges with other characters. When he deals with Talos, who's played by Ben Mendelsohn, their conversations are more calm and intense. And there's still some explosivity that threatens to rear its head, but most of their interactions are slightly strained and weighty, just burdened by past promises and actions. Now, I'm really enjoying the new additions to the cast with Olivia Colman, Emilia Clarke, and Kingsley Ben-Adir. I mean, they each bring a different type of persona, but one thing they all share is a willingness to do whatever it takes to accomplish a job. And this takes on different forms for each of them, but none of them are people that you'd really want to double-cross and then meet in a dark alley. Olivia Colman is proper and snarky, which is a lot of fun to watch. I mean, we don't fully understand her full level of involvement within the story, but she definitely adds an unpredictable element to the narrative. Emilia Clarke's character of Gaia is very intriguing because she's still quite a mystery. We know who she is and why her involvement ratchets up certain complications, but her motives and intentions, they're still obscured. And I like the intrigue and even doubt that builds for the show. Now, somebody that is much less of a mystery, but still is a dominating and threatening force, is Kingsley Ben-Adir. He commands his scene with authority, and there's always just this feeling of uneasy tension when he's inside of a room. He can be ruthless, but also appears to be fair. And where that line sits, it's sometimes elusive, making for some unpredictable outcomes. The stress this adds to the storytelling helps to keep the engagement high, as well as the impending threat and doom. So this is going to be a relatively short series with only 6 episodes, But with at least the first two, they're each about an hour, so that allows the story to unfold and build the suspense without feeling like it's clipping information in favor of time. And because the pacing is more patient, even with the inclusion of exciting action sequences, the episodes use the time very wisely. Now, there is something that the story keeps hinting at through questions, but I love that so far, we don't get an answer to it. I want that teasing to continue so that the payoff is really earned. It's going to be fun to see where this leads and how the series decides to conclude itself. Now, I'm hoping that it's not going to leave us on a cliffhanger that requires a long wait until a film comes out, but rather gives us a complete arc and then can be continued in a movie. If you enjoy spy thrillers and clandestine drama, Secret Invasion has started off with a bang. The characters are complex and richly developed, but the story still leaves us with mystery so that surprises are sure to be included in every episode. The acting is top-notch, and this feels less like a Marvel project and more like a BBC-produced dramatic adventure full of intrigue and intelligent complexities. Samuel L. Jackson in an understated role matches the gritty tone of the series, captivating and enthralling through small moments rather than over-the-top demeanors. So far, I am completely hooked on Secret Invasion, and this could end up being one of the best MCU entries yet. There's no sex nudity, some profanity, and a lot of violence. And I'm going to hold off on giving this a score until I've had the opportunity just to see the show in its entirety. So far, though, I am really digging this, and I hope you have just as much fun as I did with it. So is this a show that you've been looking forward to seeing? How do you think this is going to affect the MCU moving forward? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.